Elijah, appreciate you doing this, talking to us about this.
Thank you.
In terms of the accident, if you could just take us through what happened that morning and what led to the accident itself.
Yeah, so that very morning, I practice as usual. I'm always in the gym. I actually have stayed over a couple nights, but this one was a little different. So I go to my normal spots. I go eat, I come back. So I was actually wanting to get about 10,000 shots that week made. So I kind of hit my goal, so I was very excited. I'm trying to get ready for college. And me going on the way to my house, the car didn't really register I was in there. So even to this day, the car app still says I'm at the gym. So me on the way to the gym, I noticed like little things that I don't normally see in the car. So like the keypad starting to turn off, flickering on and off, the lights going off, like without me even doing anything. I'm not worried about it too much, but then when I noticed something is when I had come to a stop, I think at the first or second light of, me leaving. I had just actually gotten out the shower from the gym because, I had school. So I was ready to just go home, change, and then, head on my way to school after I eat. And then I noticed that the wheel wasn't responding, like I wasn't in the car. So I started to notice that when I was deciding to, so at that red light, when I was moving forward, I was in the far left lane and I was getting over to the right. And I noticed the wheel wasn't moving as easy as it should. And me noticing the keypad wasn't on, it was kind of just, weirding me out. So on the way to the next light, it's probably a good amount away. So I know there's nobody behind me, nobody in front. So when I'm in this lane, I noticed that I had gotten this lane and didn't realize it until I looked up after, just messing with the keyboard. And then next thing you know, I'm holding the wheel, but I didn't register that I went from this lane to this lane. So when I had thought about it, I said, oh wait, something's wrong. And then next thing you know, I can't get back to the left. So a car's coming on from this way of me, and I'm actually thinking, all right, I'll just pull over. So I'm speeding up to pull over into this lane. There's cars parked out on the street. So I'm trying to get in to to turn into a neighborhood. And when I'm turning, but I'm speeding up to turn, I can't stop. So the wheel's not responding to me as if I'm not physically in there. So next thing you know, all I remember was feeling pressured. So I remember a light passing me, and I look, and I see it's a car going by, and I look back in front of me. I'm on my way to a curb. I get on the curb, and all I remember is just pressure. I wake up in the car after about 3 minutes. I had saw from the camera feed that the car had caught fire on impact. So Tesla's a little different. And then my first thought was waking up, I kind of assumed I was home. Nothing registered. I had heard cracking noises I was at a campfire. And when I had waken up, I woke up from yawning. So me being out of it, I had my seatbelt on, thank God. So when the force, it didn't hurt me as bad. And then I think there's a Life 360 app. The Life 360 app, was notifying my phone, so I'm hearing it. Later on, I found out I only went up to 55, going from 33 before the light. I came to a complete stop. I noticed it around about 40 in the 40 zone. So when I'm speeding up to get into the next lane, just to make sure nobody's behind me, which is why I sped up. I could have prevented a lot of things, but it was just one of those days where it was just wrong place, wrong time. So for me being in the car though, that was kind of the rough part about my experience about being in the crash, because I woke up to something I've never been in before. I've never been in a car. It was hot. It felt like a really hot sauna, and just smokes. And then it's just you wake up and then it's you're just put in front of this scene. The fire was right on the dashboard. It covered this whole right side. So me, I went into panic mode. So I, instinctively checked my surroundings. I couldn't see outside the car because of all the fog. So it kind of clogged up the windows, made the windows dark. My fear was, okay, what did I do? So, my first time, I don't remember nothing. So I was just like, what did I do? How did I get here? My dad's gonna kill me, this, that. I was like, dang. But my main thing was, this car doesn't seem like it can work. Everything is off. The fire's on. So I said, okay, I'm just gonna get out, find the nearest gas station, get as much water as I can, call my dad, call help, just kind of get this under control. So I wasn't too worried about getting out. My phone was still in the pocket where you're supposed to have it. It's like a self-charger thing. And then that's kind of where you put your key too. So that day I didn't have my key. I had the key on my phone. So I had left my phone there because I don't really, need my phone. Because it you have to put it there before you start the car. And when I grabbed my phone was there. I didn't think I went, it was too crazy. Because, I wasn't upside down, I wasn't sideways. My phone was still in the pocket, so I was just like, it couldn't have been that bad. I'm touching the keypad after I grab my phone. My car's clean, so I know there's nothing on the floor. I know there's nothing I need, but my phone, get out. So as I'm logging into my phone to ready to call my dad, I try to open the door, and the door's not opening. And then the screen, when you turn on your phone, your screen kind of comes back just a little bit brighter, and then the Apple sign shows up. A big lock screen showed. It said the car wasn't locked. So the only time I've seen that is when you lock your Tesla key, it's like a little credit card. You lock it, and then if somebody else tries to come and press it to open it without the key, it shows like a lock sign in the car. So when I saw that, I realized what situation I was in. So my first instinct was take off my seatbelt. I got in the back seat to assess what I could do. I checked for any cracks, anything I could use to get out. So, I start kind of panicking, just rushing to get out. It got quite hot to the point where it was like I was losing it. And then I had passed out for the first time. Between pass outs, I woke up for it took me probably about 20 or 30 seconds to wake back up. Because, it was just it takes you out, but then brings you back. How hot it was, the smoke, I can't breathe. So I went into kind of a flight or fight. So what I told you before was how I go to my normal eating spots and then come back to the gym. So that's what kind of, sort of helped me was to not overheat and to not pass out. I actually have a scar, I think it's on my chest. I have a scar that I had to use to keep myself up. So I had bitten my lips and then kind of curled my hands in for right here to keep myself up. And I had remembered that I had went to the gas station. I saw Kane's bag, and then I saw a gas station bag with water in it. So I had used the water to cool myself down, but I didn't want to use all of it. I wasn't gonna waste it on the fire because the fire looked too intense. So I was using kind of the water as my last resort. So I was using it. I sprayed just a couple just to wipe myself down. And then, I'm panicking. I'm scared. I didn't really think to use my phone. I didn't think of calling nobody. Because of the situation I was in, I didn't think I had enough time. So I was kind of trying to fight time the whole time in the car. My next thought process was make as much noise as I can. So I got back in the front. I yelled, I screamed, I hit the windows to make bad noises. And then I look at the wheel, I'm just gonna honk the horn. And I'm thinking, horn? I'm thinking about the wheel. So as I'm thinking about the wheel, I touch on the wheel, it's not making anything, the car's off. And I'm thinking, why am I thinking about this wheel right now? And I had realized, all I remember is just a flash in the wheel. So I'm really trying to think back hard and trying to focus on what's around me. And I had tried moving the wheel to see if it would work. The wheel is like this. So the wheel's supposed to be like this, but now it's like this. So I think it was probably because I crashed. And the wheel's stiff, and I said, oh, it had stiffened up for me. So I go on my phone. For me, it all felt like it was like I was in there for a couple hours. It was only been a couple minutes. So all of this is going through my head as I'm trying to move around. And I looked at my app to see where I was. My app isn't loading. And all it says is I'm at the gym. So I said, am I really at the gym? It scared me because at that time, nobody's really around you, especially at the gym. So the phone wasn't really needed. I didn't really feel about calling nobody, so I just threw my phone. And I didn't want to use my phone to break it just in case. So I had to start working on the windows, and then my hands started getting beat up, so I started using my feet. I had passed out again, and then I woke up after trying, and then it got like really hot on my right side. I thought it was just from the fire, but then I had realized my whole right side of my body caught on fire from waking up for the next one. So I had taken my clothes off, and I had doused myself with water, and then just just keep me cool. I heard like thud noises, and I heard sirens. So I'm assuming somebody was here. So it kind of brought me, a sense of urgency to, just keep going until the end. For me, it wasn't it's probably I could live or die situation. For me, I didn't know what it was. This is the first time I had really thought to myself, I don't know what's gonna happen in the next couple minutes. So as I'm working on this in my front left window, I'm working on it. I had thought to work on another window because it was very intense. It was really a lot to work on that window. It was bulletproof. I didn't know what to do. So I had worked on this front window. In the back seat, there's a lot of legroom. I kind of talked about the car a lot, so I knew what was kind of what I was in. So me realizing how I talked about the car, I realized that the back space, this is fogging up. I could only see to about, below me. I couldn't look straight or up. So I'm trying to move to work on this window. I put my butt on the console because I realized if I pass out again, I fall in the back seat where there's a lot of leg room, and that's my only airspace. So I put my butt on the console, and then I put my feet over the wheel to work on this main window. This window is the window of impact because I saw a tree, and then I heard thud noises. I didn't know what it was at the time, but I realized later it was water. So I realized I hit a hydrant too, of the car, being on top. I thought it was raining. I didn't know what it was. My mind wasn't focused on nothing but getting out. So I'm kicking on this main window. And I did something to prevent myself from going to sleep. And then as I'm working on this window, I took one last hit. And it kind of popped. I think it really popped from the fire hitting the car. And then I saw there was a crack. So I think it kind of just went through the windshield, and then it just had popped. So that's what kept me going. And then later, all I remember was just passing out into the back seat with my legs in the air. And then thankfully, somebody was on the outside working on the same time. Around the same time I was working, they were working too. So it took a lot for them, and I'm grateful for everybody who helped me. I'm grateful for everybody's prayers. That's first and foremost. And as they took off the window, they saw my leg, and then, as they touched, I kind of went back up, and I just went for it. And then after that, all I kind of remember is hitting the floor and then feeling a sensation of just cooling my body down. I felt like I was at a river, thinking because there was so much water. Next thing you know, I remember seeing lights. I remember looking at a ceiling full of lights, and then somebody holding my arm. I think that was the first hospital. And then the next one, I remember I woke up and then I just couldn't speak. I just remember being able to write, and then that's how I kind of communicated. My first thought process about waking up was, did I hit somebody? I honestly take full responsibility, whether it was me, the other, another car, a malfunction. I don't really want to, put anybody else in a situation, whoever made the car, anything. I want to take full responsibility on everything I do. So if I would have hurt somebody, that would have really took a toll on me. So that was kind of my only thing, that I hit somebody. when I found that out, it kind of brought me to like, almost like that was already my closure. Like nobody got hurt. I'm glad it happened to nobody else, and it, you know, I'm glad at least it happened to me instead of somebody else. That was another thing I thought, like if my siblings, my older sister wanted to drive the car, anybody, I'm just thankful it was me and nobody else. So I'm glad that, you know, that I came about and I lived through that situation. It taught me a lot. It taught me, you know, I appreciate a lot. I appreciate more than what I thought. I appreciate everybody around. I'm appreciated for just somebody randomly helping me. My other thought process was, you know, thinking if I were to drive past something like that, because, you know, everybody has seen like either an accident after, before, you know, something. It just got me to think about like, you know, like what would I have done on the outside? Like there are amazing people in this world that are willing to help and risk their own bodies for you. So for me, it was, I don't ever want to think about me, you know, really ever again. It's always, for me, it's always about somebody else. So community is a really big thing for me. You know, my community, very quiet, very, you know, amazing people. You see people walking dogs back and forth. After, you know, having my family time, waking up, I came back to a great community. Flowers all over the place. And then, you know, my dad explained it. He was like, you don't really see your flowers. Like, this is, like, amazing. You got to appreciate a lot. And then, you know, just me trying to, you know, get back into it. I start walking my neighborhood and then back to the house, you know, just trying to get myself back. Smiles on smiles on smiles. So for me, it was amazing. The only thing that hurt me was that, you know, somebody else was hurt because of me. And that really, like, hurt me a lot. But I'm just glad, one, nobody else is hurt. Two, everybody's able to smile through it. My whole community was just honking horns, just glad I'm okay. So I don't pray that on anybody. I hope that everybody, you know, stays safe, drive safe. And, you know, there's people out there that had maybe even a worse experience or the same experience as me. So I'm open to talk about anything. You know, I'm willing to talk to somebody. I know somebody else, even from that situation, has something way harder going on. You know, I can never really think about myself. That is a memory for me to help somebody else. You know, I'm still here to help somebody else. I'm really glad God gave me the chance to help another person that is probably going through way worse than what I'm going through right now. That's pretty much it.
Well, that's a harrowing story, man. We're glad you're okay. Obviously, just to clarify what happened at the beginning to cause the crash. Yeah. So I know you said that, you know, the key, it wasn't registering.
He went through like as much detail as he can. I mean,
I just wanted to clarify, just like in terms of you were trying to change lanes and it locked up. Is that a fair way to describe it?
It locked up and I didn't realize I had changed lanes.
Okay.
So from the stopping point, because I don't think it read that I was there anyways, but when the stopping point, the car had really like come to a halt and shut down, but I was still able to move forward, but the wheel just didn't work. Okay. So the wheel, when you're in a Tesla and a Cybertruck and you have locked your car, your wheel locks up. So I've had like, you know, like tested that myself anyways, you know, lock the car, like when I'm just going to the store or something, and then like, you know, my sibling or somebody's in there, and then they'll try to play with the wheel. You could like play games on it or something, like only when you're parked. But for that part of the stopping point, I don't think the wheel, you know, kind of worked out. And then moving forward, the wheel's still in that lock position and it's kind of tilting to the right. So I'm gradually moving this way as well. I was saying I didn't realize anything.
Got it.
All right, next topic, please.
Hi, Coach. Miriam Swanson with the LA Daily News. Have you heard this story? Like, have you been through this?
Yes.
Does the whole team know? Like, everything?
I don't know if the whole team probably doesn't know.
The whole team does know. Yeah. No, yeah. You know, my teammates were kind of shy about asking it, but I was so open with them. You know, I want to be open with my teammates about everything. They know everything I got going on. I'm here for them about anything that got going on. You know, that was kind of like the first step of breaking my comfort zone and then, you know, opening myself up to my team. So that's the first thing I told everybody, because they asked me like, "Hey, are you okay? I heard about this, and that." They checked up on me as soon as I got here, and that was the first thing I had to do, is just let my guard down and explain to them, I'm here, I'm ready to move forward, and then I'm ready to work.
So for you, Coach, like, what was this whole experience like for you, and what does it mean to you to have a guy like kind of take that perspective out of this?
Yeah, I mean, I think, the day that I was in the hospital with him, he was kind of in and out. But the love that his family had and the care and his perspective is really unique. It's he doesn't have even before the accident, to be honest with you, when you talk to Elijah, it's a unique thought process on how he views life, how he views the game of basketball, and how he views his teammates. I mean, he was over at my house the other night and went through the entire roster on, hey, this guy's really going to help us in close games. This guy, we got to build his confidence up. He just he's wired uniquely in his viewpoint on everything. I knew that I didn't know he talked to the whole team about his experience, but I knew that, he said he had a 3-hour conversation the other day with Chad. That probably a pretty interesting conversation for 3 hours between Chad and Elijah.
Elijah, how much basketball have you been able to play lately, and what's the process been like getting you up to speed after not being able to play?
So I've been good. I've been really, getting back into it, especially, where I was from where I am now. I feel like I've gotten a lot better. And then especially, seeing my teammates, it's really motivated me a lot to, push forward and to keep up with the team. So especially getting out the hospital, that was my main focus. I already thought about the team. So I was, just getting back. And then the confidence there was my family. Especially, just waking up. My family was there from the beginning, and they're here now. So, I'm thankful for my mom, my siblings, my grandparents, my cousins, aunts, my dad, just everybody that was there. And then especially for them, they give me the confidence to keep working. So my work ethic right now it hasn't changed. Still the same. I still work out every morning. I wake up every morning, come to practice, support my team, have team bondings and all that.
And for Coach, what are you getting in Alijah Arenas as a player?
I mean, a lot. Obviously, as soon as his academics gets done, we can get on the practice floor. He can start doing individual stuff with us. He could do team stuff with us. But we're getting a super unique talent, unselfish. I think because of the amount of points that he scored, everybody associates the scoring average with him as a player. When I watch him play, it's the vision, it's the seeing things that happen on the floor, third, fourth options. But we're getting one of the most talented players in the country, who's reclassifying up. So, for any freshman, there's always a leap. But then when you're have a younger player that's moving up a class too. It's super important that he has the attitude that he does with his teammates, with the coaches. He knows what's going on the practice floor, unlike anyone his age. Like he probably knows our offense just from watching it without even getting reps as good as half our team or maybe more. He's gonna, he knows all 5 positions. But we're getting a guy that can obviously score. At an elite level and someone that's got an incredible future, beyond USC. So it's just a matter of us, honing in and getting to work once his academics gets cleared.
And last question.
Elijah, I know you mentioned, just the faith you have gained in people, just knowing what these Good Samaritans did for you. What have you learned about them, or what do you know kind of about how they saved you in this situation?
Amazing people. One actually went to Chatsworth. And then, so we talked about that for a while. They came over to the house. We had a great time. We talked. We kind of showed them the house, what my dad does, everything. And then one is actually, he works in the UCLA medical like facility and office. So for me, that was just God sent two great, amazing people. You know, I can't ask for anything less or anything more. Like, you know, God has his miracles. Everybody has miracles. And I'm very lucky. You know, not even just to be here. I'm very lucky in just general in life. You know, even where I'm at, USC, you guys are amazing. My coaching staff is amazing. My teammates are amazing. I don't have even words to, you know, express how I feel about my life right now.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody.
Josh, what gym?
Say it again?
What gym did you?
Oh, it's a gym called the District.
And you did do 10,000 shots that week?
So I had actually gotten up to like 7.
7,000?
Yeah, so my goal was 10.
All right, that's not bad. Makes sense.